First of all, I actually would not recommend using the Kingdom Hearts costume because the wing is fucking annoying when it comes to learning JDCs. The wing is actually very obnoxious. And it is distracting, so I will actually not use it. Unless you really want that costume, right? But if not, I will get rid of it. I've never used the costume on tournament games. To make sure... Like, I know that may sound stupid, but it's really annoying.
In what world will you fight, Kupo?
Alright.
Your allies have assembled, Kupo. Select a summon, Kupo. Select a summon, Kupo.
So the first thing that I do is to train the JDCs is like I set up a private match. You can set it unlimited time, so you can be here as much as you want.
I have no intent of holding back. This may be worthwhile effort.
So time is unlimited here, so I can just fuck around. Cheerless F is a must. Fuck no. And I set up a core battle. This is not a normal game, as you can see. It's core battle, which means... Why a core battle? Because I can just hit this as much as I want. And the game won't be over. So this is the perfect JDC training. So I can just hit this over and over. Like this, and I will be fine. So you can just like hit this over and over. Man, I'm not landing a single Hellscape right now. Jesus, alright. What is wrong with me? Okay. Alright. There we go. Sorry, I had like a brain fart there. So you can also hit these guys, right? If you want to. That's also an option. So the first one is neutral. The first one is fairly easy to do. Now you will notice when I hit someone here is that I have a white flash on the last hit. You see that white thing that appears at the end? There's like a white ball that goes over the swing effect of my sword at the end. See that thing on the right part? So that indicates when you have to do it. When that is about to appear, that's when you do it. That's what indicates it. When you know that's about to appear, it depends on the delay of your screen, because I have 1 millisecond of delay, right? I have 1 millisecond. So it might be different depending on the screen that you have. So it might be a little bit before, it will be a little bit after. But you have to look at that. And when you know that's going to appear, that's when you do it. For me, it's almost at the same time that it's about to appear. That's when I do it. Let's look at the core. The same thing applies in the air. It's hard for me to show you the white flash because with the core kind of like makes it disappear, right? Because let me go back to that guy over there. But on the air, it's exactly the same thing. On the air, it's exactly the same thing. The effect is there as well. Let me show you from here. You see it there? It appears on the top. It's there. It's a white flash that appears. So when you know that's going to appear, then you do it. And that's how you do it. It's very shiny. I know, with Shadow Flare you can't. With Shadow Flare it doesn't work. Neither Shadow Flare or this one. These ones don't have JDCs. These ones don't work. Alright, so that's neutral for you. Now forward, which is this one, right? This one is actually the same. You will notice that that same flash appears when I finish the combo. Let me push him a little bit. Now look at this. You see how something appears there? There's like a white thing that appears at the end, right? Over there. Like that. It's the same thing as neutral. That's a white flash for neutral, and this is the white one for forward. Yeah, it's above his head. Same thing on the ground. Like that. So when you know that's gonna happen, you press R1. Like that. Another trick, which may be actually more useful, what I do is I look behind Sephiroth and you see how the swing effect appears. So as soon as the swing effect appears, you press it. As soon as you see the swing effect appear, the vertical one, then you press it. Like that. It's not only the white flash, but it's the entire vertical effect. Means you can hit it. When you see it, you hit it. Once you look at that, it makes it very simple to do it. Obviously, you're gonna miss sometimes, right? Because you're not perfect. No one is perfect in this planet. Like, I just miss it there. But it's the proper indication to do it. Then again, it depends on the screen that you have, right? If you have like one of those home TVs that maybe have like 5 milliseconds of delay, that will make it a little bit slower. So you will have to delay it a little bit. But that's just a matter of you getting used to your TV screen or your monitor or whatever you happen to have. Also, some TVs have something called game mode, which decreases the delay of your inputs. So if you have something like a home TV, I will actually recommend you to check your TV options, and there's something called game mode, which might actually help you out with that. Alright, now that we have neutral, right, and forward done, now the ones that are a little bit more tricky comes into play, which is Heaven Slides and the hardest one, Hell's Gate. That's the worst one. Now, Heaven Slide, there is no clear indication for this, so I just made them up myself. So let's look at Heaven Slide by itself first. Right? So there's a few things you have to pay attention here. One is, there's a vertical effect that appears in front of Sephiroth when he finishes. See, like there's like a white thing. No white, it's like green, right? It's like a green thing that goes up in front of Sephiroth. See that green thing that appears? So that's one of the first thing that you can look at. When you see that, you can press it. That's one of them. Another one is, pay attention now where Sephiroth is looking. When he finishes the attack, you will see that he looks back. You see that Sephiroth for a moment, it's looking at you, right? Because he turns away. He's not looking at the target, but now when he does Heaven Slide, he looks back at you. When you see his face looking at you, that's when you can press it. There. Yeah, Sephiroth turns around, he has his sword swinging, he has his sword pointing at you. Well, not pointing, but like, you can see the hold of the sword, right? You can see for a second the hold of the sword there. And that's when you can press it. Oh. Man, I'm fucking out all the time now. There we go. Yeah, let's look at it. Let's look at it slowly. You see how he turns around and he has the sword at you. he has his sword pointing up, right? He has the sword pointing up to the sky while he's holding it. And you can see how he holds it with his hands. And when you see his hands holding it, pointing out of the sky, that's when you do it. And the last thing you can look at, which is usually the thing that people tell you the most, and it's, I guess, maybe the simplest one, is the damage value. You see how he does damage, right? A lot of 64s and a 256 at the end. That 256, it's when you can actually do it. Now, if you look at the 256 and do it at the same time, you can do it when it's about to appear. If you look at the 56, so you look how the 256 is shaking, right? As soon as you see it shaking, you can do it. Now, I wouldn't recommend this, because even though that's the most accurate way of doing it, right? Because the 256 shaking is the most consistent thing you can learn. It will mean that you will have to randomly look at some point of the string and you don't know where the 256 is gonna appear. So it's like, where the fuck do I look at? So it's a little bit annoying. It works, but it's not something I would recommend. But that's one way of doing it. However, I would not recommend this, because it's just, you know, you don't know when it's gonna appear, because you don't know how the numbers work here, right? But that's a way of doing it. So the good thing about Heaven's Light is, like, once you get the catch of it, you're gonna do it very consistently. It will work just fine. Alright, so now, I don't know if you guys have any questions about Heaven's Light, but those are the three main cues. The first one is the green effect in front of you, he pointing the sword at the sky, or the damage number. Whatever works best for you. For me, it comes to a point when I just learn it by timing, which it's a thing you can do, but I will not recommend it, because you don't know when lag strikes, right? And when lag strikes, you can depend on time. If the lag was always perfect, then you could do that, but that's not something you can do. Now, actually, let me check something right now. Let me look at the number on other attacks, if that works or not. Because I know it works on Heaven's Light, but I don't think it works with the other ones. Nah, I guess that's a only Heaven's Light thing. Anyway. Now, the hardest one is Hell's Gate. That's why you need the core over here. That's when... This is the worst one. Hell's Gate is just really terrible. One of the main reasons why Hell's Gate is so hard, it's because the effects can change entirely depending on how the match is going. And it's a little bit RNG. If it's laggy or not, because here's the thing. You see how these rocks appear? The speed of the rocks are going to appear and disappear at the same speed regardless of it's laggy or not. So this could be at like the laggiest shit, the laggiest PowerPoint presentation you could ever see in your life. And the rocks will disappear at the same time. So it's very inconsistent to like look at the rocks to like do that, you know? It's something you can do, but it's a little bit tricky because of that. But yeah, Hell's Gate. Now there's two Hell's Gate, right? There's a normal, that's the one on the air, this one, and then the full one. Now these two work completely different. This one that you stop in the middle of the air is actually pretty easy, because you see the green explosion. That's when you do it. It's just that. You see the green explosion, you do it. Now, I don't know if you guys see it. It's like the green explosion that appears around Sephiroth. That's the thing. And you just press it at the same... Wow, fuck. You just press it at the same time, and then it works. It's actually very simple. The other thing you can look at is like when you do the... When you see the explosion, not that you guys will notice, but there's like a green flash. You can imagine it's like a green eye, right? It's like a green eye that opens and closes. Look at it. Maybe not here, maybe it's better to see it from the core perspective. Fucking hell, 1 second. There's like a green eye that opens and closes. It's the eye of Mother. So you can look at the eye of Mother there. It's like a green flash that appears in the middle of the circle. That's the thing that you can look at. I hope you guys see it, right? Like, I'm not doing it so you can like see the flash better. That's the eye of Mother. That's another thing that you can guys look at. So, at the same time that the flash is going to appear, you do it. It's very straightforward. It's very simple. You just have to like kind of like look at the effects, and you will get used to it. But chances are you guys are not gonna do this one very often, because usually if you never finish Hell's Gate, it's because you probably did something wrong and you're regretting it, and probably you don't want to finish it. So it's like, oh, I fucked up, I don't want to do it, and I just want to go back. So, which means you're probably gonna miss it. So now the hard one is Hell's Gate. Now this one is terrible, right? There are so many things wrong with this one. So let's look at the first one. First one, the rocks. Do you see how the rocks have a green effect over them? And the effect kind of like, it's like a green, I don't know how that's called, but it's like a green effect that goes up and then disappears, right? It's like a green thing that goes up and then disappears. When you see those effects that are going to disappear, that's when you do it. You see them and they're like, oh, they're leaving, and then you do it. Oh fuck, that was the wrong one. But that one is like the worst cue you can have. That's a very bad cue that you can look at, right? Because it's like those random green explosions appear randomly everywhere, and you're like, where the fuck do I look at? Like, yeah, it's true, it works, but that's a shadow flare. But that doesn't help very much, is it? And it's really shitty. So there's a second one, and there's two more for this. One is, that's not. One is, if you look at Sephiroth, there's like a green flash appearing. Oh, Lord Chaos-sama invited me to a lobby, I'll join in a moment. So, one of his, if you look at Sephiroth, there's like a green flash appearing on his body. Like a circle. It's hard to see, but I'm gonna do it several times so you can see it. There's like a green, white flash. It's a circle that appears on Sephiroth, appears and disappears. It's hard to see, but you should look at Sephiroth's lower body, where his coat is. Just look at that part. And you will see for a moment there's like a white effect, like a white flash. It's hard to notice, but it's there. And when you see that, and then you press it, that's how it works. That's very inconsistent. That's very consistent, I mean. It's the most consistent cue you can have. Sorry for me fucking up a lot of times, but yeah. That's the... That white circle over there, I don't know if you guys can see it, but that's the one. It's how a white circle appears on Sephiroth's coats. And the third one is his hair. You will notice his hair starts falling down. You see how his hair, the last part of the hair is up, like it's looking up, and then starts going down. That's actually another visual cue. His fabulous hair is another visual cue. You will notice his hair is pointing up at the sky, right? When he's pulling the sword down. When you see that, and it starts going down, that's when you press it. You have to wait for it to go down, and it will work. But the one I would recommend the most is the the white flash on his coat. That's probably the most consistent cue I can give you guys. When you see that and it's about to be gone, you do it like that. When you see it, you press it at the same time as it disappears. Well, I'm not landing much now because I'm more looking at the effect, so you guys can see it more than like focusing on landing it. But that's how that one works. It's the most tricky one to learn. But that's a Hellgates one. This one is actually like not a big deal if you miss it. Like Hell's Gate, it's okay if you miss it. It's usually the less punishing one, because usually when you Hell's Gate someone and you walrus someone, you're gonna land the hit anyway, the HP, right? So if you miss Hell's Gate, that's for the most part okay, but you might want to not to miss it because it can be the difference between a win or a loss. There you go. Maybe you can see the circle curly from against a person, right? Like this. Or maybe not. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's harder to see. But there's like a little white explosion. But yeah, that's the thing. So that's the Sephiroth things that I look at when I do the dash cancels. And hopefully it helps you out. It's way less noticeable in a person, yeah. But there's like a white explosion there. You see like there's a white thing? Do you see it? You see there's like a little white circle there on Sephiroth. That's the thing. But yeah, hopefully that helps you out. Maybe I can trim this, like upload it somewhere and maybe post it on Reddit or something if someone needs like help. But yeah, that's the Sephiroth cues for you that I use for the dash cancels. Alright, gonna see what this invite is about.